I'm finally gonna do it. I have been leaving this big old Heritage pumpkin here for quite some time, but today we're gonna can it. I don't want to cut it open because he looks so cool. Alright, we're gonna be pressure canning this great big pumpkin. This is the one that we bought at Costco ages ago, and yeah, pumpkins, they stay for a long time, and a good Heritage pumpkin like this has got fabulous shelf life. So let's crack it open. Let's see how it looks. No turning back now. I should have got Fred to do the first one. Can we just pull it apart? Let's find out. You ready? Ah! Oh, woo! Don't drop the pumpkin. Oh my gosh. Look how thick the meat is on that thing. No wonder it took me forever to get it open. Wow. But look at the seeds on this thing. Alrighty, let's get these seeds out first because these are the things I want to save. Well, because I want to process it.
What are you doing?
Look how thick it is. These are all the seeds I need to tidy. Wow, that was a job and a half. I'm just telling you now. Okay, so Heritage pumpkins. Wow, do they ever look different inside? They're not all slimy. Look at that. That is crazy. Wow, okay. Just pulling all the stuff out. Now, I don't know what kind of heirloom it is. I mean, the store literally just called it a Heritage pumpkin, so no clue. But I can tell you that I'm not 100% sure I have enough jars. Whew. I mean, it doesn't even feel the same, Fred. It's not slimy inside. It's not going soft. It hasn't been sitting here too long. None of that kind of stuff. No, I only bought the one. I almost bought the great big one. Kind of. Yeah, this is that big one that came from Costco. That I've just been looking so cool and stuff that I haven't wanted to open it. And, well, now I've officially cracked it open. Alrighty. So the seeds are all in this stuff. So look at them all. Alright, we'll clean those up shortly. But for now, let's start cutting up this pumpkin so we can get it in jars. Now, I've already washed the jars. They're all ready to go. I have the canner out. Now, canning pumpkin, you don't puree it. You don't mash it. None of that stuff. You have to cube it. So it's the same as doing other kinds of purees. They're really not safe for canning. But in this case, cubes are perfect because then you can use them for pie. You can use them for dinners. You can mash them. Do whatever you want. All right. But first things first, I'm going to start cutting this bad boy up so we can cube it up. Now, I'm going to be canning these in pint jars or 500 milliliters, depending on where you live. And they take 55 minutes to pressure can. And we're doing what's called a hot pack. So the way it works is you cube up your pumpkin, put it in the jars, hot water and a tiny bit of salt if you want it. And then you pressure can for 55 minutes. Whew. Look at the meat on this thing. I mean, seriously, look at that. That's like, what, 3 inches wide? That's crazy. Crazy. I'm telling you, it's crazy. All right. Okay, so let me set this aside for a moment. Let me show you how big the cubes are that I'm gonna cut. Okay, I got 2 bowls, one for compost and one for the pieces. Now this is the same as any other canning thing. I mean, I know squash and pumpkin skins you can eat, but if you're gonna can it, you gotta peel them. It's just a safety thing, guys. The peels, same as potatoes, they're really not safe for canning. All right. So now the chunks that I'm going for are about that size, give or take, okay? So let me, I guess I don't really need the little knife either. I'm also taking off the softer on the inside. That's a little bit hard to pull. They're definitely not going to be uniform because I'm not any good at uniformity. In any way, shape, or form. Oh, that means a couple of these are actually too big. Oh yeah, there we go. Let's chop these guys in half. There we go. That guy too, he's too big. There we go. So that's all I'm doing. So I'm going to chop all of these up. And then when the pressure canner's all ready, we'll go through that again. Because we're all going to talk about, because it's 2025 now, we're going back to our safe canning methods. So I'll see you guys shortly, because I got a lot of pumpkin to chop. Okay, time to set the canner. So we're going to pressure can for 55 minutes. We're going to let this warm up and keep cutting pumpkin. So far, I only have half the pumpkin cut up. But I don't know how many I'm going to get. Now the canner's almost ready, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to get 7 jars filled. I'm hoping to get the full dozen. Maybe if I'm lucky, I'll get 14. So I'm going to bring over the first 6 jars, and we're going to get this pumpkin in there. Okay. Alrighty, so it's kind of pretty easy to can pumpkin. Kind of like doing the hot pack carrots or the hot pack peas. See? Oh. There we go. Alright, so now I only went up to the neck because you need to leave a 1/2 inch headspace. Or sorry, a 1 inch headspace, which is right about where that rim is for the hot water and everything. So I want to make sure we have plenty of room. So we are going to add a 1/4 teaspoon of salt to each jar, but mostly because I like the fact that it maintains the color. So let's get the salt. We didn't even empty that bowl either. So we'll definitely have more than enough for 2 canner loads. That means I need to find 2 more jars. Canner's ready. Kettle's boiled. So we're gonna 1 inch headspace on all these. We're gonna get the bubbles out. And then once we get the bubbles out, we'll top them up if they need it. They probably will from the looks of it. Alright, so I'm using the plastic debubbler because I'm trying not to scratch the inside of the jars. But yeah, you just literally poke around in there to release all the air bubbles. Look at all the bubbles that are popping up. Wow. Now the same as any other canning job. Wipe the rims down because if anything gets stuck around the rims, you're not going to get a good seal. Gives you another chance to check for any little nicks, dings, cracks. Because you can feel it through the paper towel. Like I said, wash them really, really well. Maintain that nice, healthy seal. Doo-doo-doo. Last one. Ta-da! Alright, that'll be composted. And nice clean lids. Washed all these already. It's not like the same, don't forget, it's not the same as old school. The new lids, the changes that they've done to them, you don't need to keep them in hot water. So don't forget. As long as they're clean, that's the important thing. And finger tight. Now, of course, I'm using the electric pressure canner as well. So, of course, time frame to do it usually takes more time. Oops. All right, so that is not quite half the pumpkin. So we'll have more than enough for 14 jars. Yay. So they'll pressure can for 55 minutes. So right now it's coming back up to warm. Well, sorry, back up to temp. It'll vent for 10 minutes. It'll beep at me and we will put the weight. I had vent on the brain again. We'll put the weight on. Once it comes up to pressure, it'll can for 55 minutes. And while that's doing its thing, I'm going to cut up the rest of this pumpkin. The last of the pumpkin that I'm going to be canning up is in the canner. I'll end up with 14 jars, but look at all the pumpkin we have left. So what I did is I pulled 3 cloves of garlic out of the freezer. I'm going to put the rest of this pumpkin in. We're going to make some pumpkin soup. So I've got 3 little onions from the garden, just using the same cutting board. There we go. So it's the equivalent of like a medium onion because there's not a lot of pumpkin. So it's probably about 6 cups of chopped up pumpkin. 3 cloves of garlic and 1 jar of turkey stock. Now, of course, if you want to make a straight up vegetarian or anything, don't use turkey stock, use veggie stock. Just use water. Do whatever you want. So 1 jar of turkey stock, and I'm going to fill this up again. There we go. So that works out to be about 6 to 7 cups of liquid. Now, of course, a lot of that's going to cook down. I'm going to put the stove on a little more than medium, and let's put the tasty stuff in. I like thyme, so I'm going to put a little bit of thyme. And I like bay leaves, so I'm going to put a bay leaf in. Now we got to, we'll put a couple in. There we go. Alrighty. So this is going to just cook on low. I'm going to let it cook probably about an hour. By the time this is done, it's cooking. Those pumpkins should be like fall apart soft. What we'll end up doing is we'll pull out the bay leaves and we're going to take the immersion blender to it. And we're going to have some tasty pumpkin soup for dinner. This has been cooking so it's like ridiculously soft. So I'm just going to try and find the bay leaves because I know they're in here somewhere. I didn't want to put them through the food mill. Not that it hurt anything, they just... Oh, there's one. One. There we go. Yeah, I didn't want to puree it with the bay leaves. Alright, I'm going to go and get the hand blender and let's puree this up. Alrighty guys, now you got to be careful when you do this because it'll splash. That actually looks really good. Just saying. Let's give it a little bit of a taste. See if we need any salt and pepper. We probably will because I didn't put any in. Yeah, we definitely need some salt and pepper. So I'm going to put probably about a half a teaspoon of salt and the same of pepper. Best way, by the way, to not use up all your little spoons for tasting. It's just use 1 spoon. Just use your stirring spoon to put it on. Oh, so much better. All right, so I want this to thicken up just a little bit more, so I'm gonna leave it on a low simmer, just on minimum. Let that thicken up a bit. The second batch of pumpkin is done, so I'm just waiting for that to cool down. Then we're gonna have dinner and I'll show you what the jars look like. Okay. Soup is done. Now I let it really cook down because I wanted it thicker. We're gonna put the cream in. So now you want the pot off when you put cream in a pumpkin soup or tomato soup, because you don't want the cream to separate. So I'm not going to put a lot, because it's not something that I normally do. I just want that little bit of creaminess. We'll put a little bit more. One more spoonful. So that works out to like be maybe under 1/4 cup. Doesn't that look just so good? Oh, it smells good too, just saying. All right, get my handy dandy spoon that I've been using. Let's try it out. Oh, okay, the cream totally does it. Just saying. Now, oops, remove that. That's the, let me do it over this way. That's the pumpkin. This is the first 7 jars. The other 7 are still cooling, but they came out so good. All right, so the hair has gotten wilder over the course of the day. Yeah, I did cut my finger again. Go figure, it's me. But it was a good day. I didn't want to cut up that cool looking heirloom pumpkin, but it needed to be cut up. I didn't want it to go bad. We've got all the seeds, so Fred still doesn't clean those out. That's his job. 14 jars of pumpkin, so I can use them for a mash, add them potatoes, put them on top of a shepherd's pie, make pancakes. We've done that before. And we've got pumpkin soup for dinner. So I did go to the store and I got some marble rye, because rye bread and pumpkin soup, I don't know, it just tastes good. That's all I can say. I think it tastes good. Anyway, guys, that is canning pumpkin. And don't forget, the link is down below for the safe canning practices from the National Center for Home Food Preservation. If you're going to can it, make sure you do it a safe process. Pumpkin must be pressure canned. Alrighty, guys. It's been a long day. We've done a lot of stuff around the house. It's time for some soup. And we'll see you next time as we continue our simpler life here on PEI. Bye for now.